Good afternoon. When people talk about a U.S. territory in the Pacific, the first thing that comes to mind is probably Hawaii. But actually today I'm going to be talking about Guam. I'll be talking about my personal experiences after living on the island for 4 years and also referencing GuamPD.com, thediplomat.com, where the military is revered and reviled, and also investigateguam.com. My points will cover World War II in Guam, military presence on Guam, now tourism and attractions on Guam. Let's all imagine you're in the Pacific just going about your daily routine, and then all of a sudden you're part of one of the biggest wars in history. Rumors were flying around that the U.S. was going to go to war with Japan, and Japan was on its way to talk peace with the United States. Then, according to GuamPD.com, a month later, on 8 December 1941, Japanese planes descended on the island of Guam. 4 hours before that, though, Japanese planes attacked Pearl Harbor and killed 2,500 Americans. A Japanese diplomat by the name of Kurusu was still talking peace and had no idea that the Japanese plans to strike Pearl Harbor. Then, on 10 December 1941, the Japanese invaded Guam. The Japanese had been surveying the island since mid-October and taking secret photos of the island from 3,000 meters above the ocean. 5,500 Japanese descended on the island beaches of Guam, and Guam was not prepared for the war to come. They did not have many weapons, and the weapons they did have were from World War I. The first battle lasted only 1 hour, less than an hour actually, and the few Marines and sailors that were on the island returned fire with their weapons, but realizing they had no chance at fighting the Japanese, Guam surrendered on 10 December 1941. With that surrender, 6 territories would be the only U.S. land occupied during World War II. At first, the surrender didn't seem too bad. The Japanese would let them live life as normal, minus a few curfews and confiscating things such as cars and radios and cameras. But slowly, the Japanese started tightening their grip, such as stealing houses, raping women, and executing young Chamorro men. The Chamorros thought that the war would only last 100 days, but the Japanese planned to stay for at least 1,000 years. While they were under the rule of Japanese, Chamorros were forced to change names, language, and their culture and customs. All public school kids were forced to bow to the Emperor of Japan, and they had to attend Japanese language and culture classes, and so did the adults. To communicate with the Americans, brave Chamorros started underground radio. They would tell how many planes were down, the Japanese forces were at in the Pacific, and how many planes returned unharmed from battles. According to GuamPD.com, most reports came from the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco. America was finally starting to make progress in the Pacific, though. Japanese were finally being defeated everywhere. Ships were sunk in April Harbor, the Solomon Islands, and New Guinea, and the Marshalls were all defeated by the Americans. According to GuamPD.com, Chamorros were working at Arroti Point when 9 American planes flew in on February 23, 1944, and killed all the Japanese on the runway and damaged 4 aircraft, then took off before the Japanese could get there and return fire. The Japanese Empire was starting to crumble now, and General MacArthur and General Hazley were thrusting through the Central Pacific, and with the loss of air power, Japan's surface ships were doomed. Knowing their fate, Japan had a surge of 5,000 additional troops to the 20,000 already on the island of Guam, and ready for the last stand. In those last days, Japanese were very cruel. Men were beaten, executed, women were beaten and raped and killed, and children were also executed. According to GuamPedia.com, 6 days before the Americans invaded, 46 men and women were massacred in the village of Maritzo. After hearing of this, Chamorros started attacking all over the island, and American forces invaded Guam, and the full liberation took 3 weeks from that day. The total, 1,800 U.S. soldiers were killed, 17,500 Japanese soldiers were killed, and during the occupation of Guam, 1,170 Chamorros were killed, and another 721 injured by beatings, forced labor, torture, rape, forced marches, and concentration camps. But after Guam was liberated by American forces, the U.S. decided to leave a full military presence on Guam. Guam is a huge part of the U.S. efforts in the Pacific. According to the diplomat.com, Guam is described as an important strategic hub for the U.S. military in the Western Pacific. Guam military personnel is 6,000 strong, but that number should be doubling with the Marines' plan on relocating to the island from Okinawa. According to the diplomat.com, military make up 28% of the island. The military sees the island as something that they own, while while the people of Guam don't see that. They just see us colonizing the island. According to the Diplomat.com, Chamorro people make up 37% of Guam, and their identity is in conflict with the U.S. They have citizenship with us, but not the full rights that citizens have, such as voting. But even though they do not have the full rights of a U.S. citizen, Guam is a very patriotic island with some of the highest recruitment levels in the nation. Guam is the headquarters for the Joint Region Marianas, which is 984,000 square miles of testing and live fire training with weapons such as a fast attack nuclear submarine and a THAAD missile battery. From my experience, locals either love you or hate you as a military member. I ran into only maybe 5 people on Guam that did not like military members, but I know of people that had run-ins with them all the time, locals that wanted nothing to do with military personnel. The big thing on Guam is that their culture is disappearing because military being there, all the housing went up because of our housing allowances. So if you're not in the military, you cannot afford housing, gas, groceries. And so some Chamorros just join for the benefits so that they in turn makes them feel like they're losing part of their culture and identity. With the troop buildup from Okinawa, Chamorros are not happy with all the sexual violence against women from the Marines that are coming from Okinawa, and the outrageous fighting with the local population tends to be a daily occurrence. So sending 8,600 Marines to this island does not sit well with locals because they're just expecting trouble. But even with the problems between some of the locals and military numbers, that does not discourage tourism or local attractions Guam has to offer. This is my favorite part about the island. Guam has many outdoor activities that families will enjoy while being stationed there or visiting. Activities include fishing, hunting, local deer and pigs, snorkeling, diving crystal clear waters, clear as the air you're breathing, hiking mountains on the southern end, and mountain biking Tarzan Falls. The list could go on and on. My personal favorites though were hunting and fishing, but specifically hunting coconut crabs. We would stay out late at night and tramp all over the jungles and chase these elusive creatures, which really look like giant spiders that are dark purple and blue colored crabs. They are so sought after on the island for parties that people will pay a lot of money for you to go out and catch them because they are so hard to find. People do not want to wander around the jungles after them. Speaking of parties, while stationed on Guam, you might be lucky enough to go to fiestas, fatimas, or birthday parties and graduations. Now these aren't parties like you're thinking. When Chamorros throw down with a party, the entire village shows up, everybody brings food, drinks, gifts. There's always DJ, dance floors, and so much food that the whole village will be able to take food home and probably feed their families for an entire week. Now, hopefully, you make friends and family while you're stationed out there. You'll see a part of the island that most people don't get to see, like me and my wife did. And we hope to fly out there soon to visit with our Chamorro family. Now, if you aren't lucky enough to meet an amazing Chamorro family, then you can take advantage of the local attractions in Tumon, which is the tourist district in Guam, with major shopping and centers, restaurants, and hotels. According to InvestGuam.com, over 1.3 million tourists flock to Guam every year. That's how amazing this island is. With over 71% of these tourists being Japanese. So today, the Japanese actually go to Guam to do marriages or just a party, or they call it the poor man's Hawaii, so it's a lot cheaper to fly out there than go to Hawaii for them. So today I talked about a little bit about Guam, the military island the military presence on Guam, World War II in Guam, and local attractions on Guam. So in conclusion, if you have any questions, just leave a question in the comment box and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for listening.